Hello, this is the Burt Locker. I'm Burt Green. This is the Burt Locker's Casuals Guide to UFC Jacksonville coming our way this Saturday night. Now, this is a casuals guide. It's designed for the casuals because casuals built the sport. Casuals unite. Okay, look. It's fine to enjoy the hell out of a sport and not know the deep back catalogue and every single history, every single fight that they've got way down in the lower ranks of every division. It's dumb. It's silly to expect people to do that. The casual fans are they're the ones who pay for pay-per-views, right? They're the ones who bring revenue in. If you can appeal to the casual fans, you're the ones that do pay-per-view numbers. Look at Conor McGregor and Brock Lesnar, for instance. Built on casual fans. Anyway. You don't have time to go doing research on every single fighter up and down the card, and you don't have to, because I'm doing that for you, alright? This is a guide to the entire fight card, every single fight, notes on every single fighter, and this card is fantastic, by the way. This is a real sleeper of a card. They've got some absolute nutters. If Florida Man was a card, this is it. Alright, they have got some real beasts on this card, some really brilliant fights. In the words of Dana White, if you didn't know, you know now. Alright, so let's get cracking with Casuals Guide to UFC Jacksonville. We're going to start off in the middleweight division. Cody Brundage versus Cedriques Dumas. Now, 6 foot plays 6'2", 7-inch reach for Dumas. Now, Brundage is a bit of a hit and miss kind of guy. He looked great against Trashian Gore and Lugiambala, but let's face it, Lugiambala is a big, very, very scary looking punching bag. He can strike, he's got a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so he's a threat just about anywhere, honestly. But he usually isn't. He can be, but usually isn't. Dumas, should be one of those new age rappers that, I don't know what their name is. It like Takeshi 6ix9ine or something? Although the only Takeshi I know is Takeshi's Castle. I'm showing my age there, right? But yeah, he looks like one of those kind of guys, tattoos all over his face. He looks like he should be a rapper. He's pretty scary looking, right? I think that he's a bad man, but he got pieced up in his first fight in the UFC. I don't know. On the street with a gun or a switchblade, I'm sure he's really, really terrifying. Like, he does have a 7-inch reach, and he did move kind of okay, but I don't know. The jury is out on Dumas. I want Dumas to win because he's a hell of a character, and that's always good for the sport. So for me, I'm going to go with Dumas by knockout because you've got a 7-inch reach, and Dumas is perfectly beatable. So if Dumas doesn't do well here, I don't think we see him again, to be perfectly honest. Tatsuro Taira, Japan taking on Clayton Rodriguez from Brazil, the 125 flyweight division. 5'7", plays 5'5", with a 3-inch reach for Taira. Now, Tatsuro Taira is the most exciting 23-year-old coming out of Japan. Make no mistake about that, right? The most exciting 23-year-old from Japan who isn't on Pornhub, I'm telling you. He's ridiculous. He's won all 13 of his fights, and he's finished all but 2 of them, right? And he did an armbar on Vergara. I think it was in his last fight or the fight before. Either way, that was brilliant. It was a very, very good armbar. Rodriguez plays to stand up a little bit more. He got an impressive knockout last time. Well, it's a TKO, but he did lose to Vergara, who's their opponent in common. So, for me, the path of least resistance here is for Taira to grapple and sub, and that is my prediction on this one. Jamal Emmers taking on Jack Jenkins from Australia. 145-pound featherweight division. 5'10", plays 5'7", with a 6-inch reach for Emmers. Now, Emmers has fought all around the world, M1 Global. He's got good striking, good work rate, and he can often find a way of getting ahead on the scorecards. Jenkins has got a great moustache. He's from Australia. He's great on the regional scene. Got a good TKO on the Dana White Contender Series. He has got good hands. He's got a good knockout rate as well. I do think that Emmers' striking might be more technical, and he is the more evasive, but power is in favour of the Aussie, and I will roll the dice on power every time. I'm taking Jack Jenkins, the moustache, in that one. Trevor Peake, 8-0, taking on Chepe Mariscal, 13-6, in the lightweight division, 155 pounds. Now, Peake, he's an Alabama native who is as redneck as they come. He's my absolute favourite right now. Absolutely brilliant. He is a tough country sumbitch. I love that dude. He just walks forward and he smashes. He throws the kitchen sink. All 8 of his wins are by knockout, and he is just brilliant fun, right? He loves God, he loves punching people, and I love Trevor Peake. There you go. Absolutely brilliant fighter. I am in. Chepe, he fought on the regionals. He just got a knockout in the LFA. So look, he mixes up the punches and kicks very well. He maybe in kicking range, he could be a winner here. That's all I know about him. But I will never bet against Trevor Peek because I'm just such a huge fan of the guy, right? Peek by reckless knockout after getting chewed up for a round or two. Reckless knockout. Love that. Zaglas Zumagulov taking on Joshua Van Burma. No, Joshua Van. He's from Burma. Do apologise. 5'4" plays 5'5" with a 2-inch reach in favour of Zumagulov. This is in the flyweight division, by the way. Zumagulov, he's got a new haircut. Let's hope that it improves his record. He is good, but he constantly gets edged in decisions. Like he's constantly on the wrong end of decisions. 4 of his last 5 losses are decision losses. 2 of them splits. He just needs to be a smidge better, doesn't he? Joshua, the fearless Van, only fought on the regionals, but he seems to be pretty good. 7 wins, 5 of them by knockout, 2 of them by submission. So he's a finisher. He might be pretty good here. Zumagulov definitely has the edge and experience, but Van is a finisher. I think I'll roll the dice on the finisher here. Taking Van, the kid from Burma. Tabitha Ricci versus Gillian Robertson. 115-pound ladies. 5'1" plays 5'5" with a 2-inch reach for Robertson. Now, Ricci, what can I say? I am in love with her. She is by far and away my favourite, female fighter on the in the UFC. She's unbelievably hot. But going along with that, she's also an absolute killer. Look at her fighting style. She's got judo and Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt. So, look, we all know what that means. Hard as nails, right? She's got brilliant trips. And she's very short. She's only 5'1", so she can get those throws. She's very good at using that to keep her belt line low on her opponents, because it always is, and just getting it down to the ground. And when she gets there, the submissions are brilliant. She's so high level. She is elite. Robertson, she's the tough Canadian, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt under Din Thomas, and look, she's really good. She tends to wrestle and grapple. She's got good kickboxing as well, though, so you need to watch out for that. For me, this is brilliant matchmaking. Absolutely brilliant. They're quite even on paper. 2 kind of different styles, ever so slightly. Who's going to be the most effective on the ground? We shall see. Look, I'm going to go with Ricci here just because I'm just such a huge fan and I will never bet against her. But look, Robertson is also very, very high level. This one is a fun matchup. Keep an eye on it. Maetsu Rebecki from Poland taking on Loic Radzhabov from Tajikistan. 155-pound division. 5'7" plays 5'11" with a 3-inch reach for Radzhabov. Now, if Matty East was a Davis fan, his nickname would be Jared, because there was a toadfish was Jared Rebecki. Anyway, I don't think he is. But what he is, however, is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy who can strike. He's pretty game. Radzhabov, he looks stacked, man. 155 pounds. I don't know how he makes that. He's got super long arms. You can tell by his picture. He did well in the PFL. He got his first win in the UFC. So let's see how he gets on. I do think that Radzhabov is going to be the bigger, more physical guy. I think that'll serve him well here. So I'll take him for the win. I don't know much about him. Randy Brown from Jamaica taking on Wellington Turman from Brazil in the welterweight division. 6'3", plays 6 foot with a 5-inch reach for Brown. Now, Randy Brown, he's the Jamaican sensation. He came into his own really in his last few fights. In the past few years, his striking and footwork have come on leaps and bounds. He looks like a different guy, especially on the feet. He lost to Jack Della Maddalena. That's a mouthful, isn't it? But JDM is very, very good. He's really, really great. So, look, Randy Brown's going to be looking to get back on track after that loss, and he's more than capable of doing so. I think we could see him look really good here. Turman, he's a very tough BJJ guy. He's just very good on the ground, and he's just very, very tough. I like Brown here because just to keep it standing, but Randy Brown is a BJJ black belt, brown belt rather, himself. So I do feel like he can do enough to negate what Turman's going to try and do, and standing, he has such a huge advantage. I'm going to go with Randy Brown in that one. Neil Magny takes on Phil Rowe in the welterweight division. Both 6'3" and both have basically the same reach. It's half an inch for Rowe. Magny is a gamer. He's been around forever. He's great in all areas. Cardio, 4 days. He fights long very well, and you've got to watch those long limbs for the triangles and the guillotines. Now, Rowe, he's a big guy. Good power, good submissions. All 10 wins are finishes. He really doesn't waste that much time. Magny is the best fighter he's ever faced, though. So for me, Magny only really loses to the top guy. So it remains to be seen, is Rowe in that group? Maybe he is. He does finish a lot of guys. But Magny's by far his biggest test. I'm going to take Magny by decision in this one. I think it's too early to start counting out Magny, even at this point in his career. That was the prelims. Now it's time for the main card. Don't forget to hit subscribe, please. If you enjoy this content, helps me out massively. Don't think, hit subscribe. Brendan Allen taking on Bruno Silva in the middleweight division. This one is fight of the night for me by far. Big fan of both guys. 6'2" plays 6 foot with a 1-inch reach for Allen. Now this is a classic grappler versus striker affair. Allen is a submission beast. He can strike as well, but mainly that's because he's free to strike, because you'd be a fool to grapple with him. You really would. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. His MMA grappling is elite. He submitted Kevin Holland amongst many, many others. Very, very dangerous. Bruno Silva is a killer. Absolute monster. Scary power. He's small for middleweight, but he has so much power, and his kickboxing is so brutal that he just likes to just knock out most people that are put in front of him. He gave Pereira a lot of problems, and we know how elite Pereira is at kickboxing, and let's face it, Pereira is basically a heavyweight, isn't he? Right? Look at Bruno Silva. 23 wins, 20 knockouts, right? How is this guy not on more people's radar? Honestly, it boggles my mind. He's so much fun to watch. One of my absolute favourites. Look, now Bruno Silva, he's a BJJ black belt himself. On the ground, I think Allen is probably slightly better, but every round starts standing, and I think Bruno, he's a black belt himself. He's not a stranger to it. So give me Bruno by knockout. If he keeps this fight on the feet, Bruno Silva's knocking this dude out. David Onama taking on Gabriel Santos. 5'11", plays 5'9", with a 4-inch reach for Onama. This is in the featherweight division. Onama is a Factory X guy, so watch out for those calf kicks. He's an absolute killer. All 10 wins, all 10 finishes. He did lose to Landwehr, though. I don't really rate him that high. He didn't look good in his last fight, but we'll see. Santos lost his debut. He's been pretty good on the regional. He's solid in all areas. For me, Onama might be too much for Santos here. He looks absolutely terrifying, to be fair, when he's winning. Austin Lane taking on Justin Taffer in the heavyweight division. This is an interesting one. 6'6", plays 6 foot with a 6-inch reach for Austin Lane. Now, Austin Lane is the same Austin Lane who was defensive line for the Chicago Bears, Chiefs and Jags as well at certain points. Either way, NFL level athlete. Gigantic man. Big power. Big reach. 12 wins, 11 knockouts. This guy might be a problem. Taffer is a monster as well, though. He just throws heavy. He's a brawler, similar to Mark Hunt. He's got 6 wins, 6 knockouts. He's not the most elusive, and he does get caught sometimes, but man, he can bang with the best of them. He really can. I like both these, but I'm going to lean with the 6'6" monster athlete, although I wouldn't be shocked to see Taffer sleep him at the same time. That's going to be a fun fight. You should definitely watch that one. Amanda Ribas taking on Macy Barber in the 125 ladies division. 5'4", plays 5'5", with a 1-inch reach for Ribas. Ribas is an elite level grappler, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, judo black belt combo. Great hips, great trips, really aggressive on the ground, very, very good. Barber has a karate background. She understands distance very, very well. She often gets ahead on the scorecards, much to her advantage. For me, if Macy can keep it standing, then she can probably outpoint Ribas, but keeping it on the feet will be very difficult against Ribas. My pick is going to be Ribas by submission. Josh Emmett taking on Ilia Topuria in the main event of the evening. Another fantastic fight. 145-pound featherweight division. 5'6", play 5'7", with a 1-inch reach for Emmett. Josh Emmett is a monster. 145 pounds. His wrestling is so good, right? He uses it to disguise his striking as well. His looping shots over the top. You don't know if he's shooting for a takedown or throwing a looping shot. Catches a lot of people out. He carries a lot of power in those shots as well. Topuria is undefeated. German BJJ black belt with knockout power. He's finished 12 of his 13 fights. 3 KOs in the UFC. And he's just that's really tough to do. And to put together a 13-0 undefeated record is very tough to do as well. His grappling really frees him up to strike kind of freely. This is a real step up for Topuria, make no mistake. He's looked great on the way up, but you're here now, and you don't mess around with guys like Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett, he is 38. He ain't getting faster at this point in his career. Topuria might have timed this pretty well. Topuria, by submission, is going to be my pick. Although Emmett is absolutely elite level, and this was going to be a fun one. Really, really fun to watch. That's a great card, guys. Really fun card. If I could ask you again, hit subscribe. I'll be recapping all these early next week. And until next time, keep those odds long and those bets terrible.